Yes, sir, we should wait 1 minute more.
Okay, fine. Sure.
Gupta sir, good afternoon and namaskar.
Good afternoon, namaskar.
Sir, how are you, sir?
I'm very fine.
Ma'am, namaste.
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening. How are you, ma'am? Are you okay?
Fine. Yes, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, it's good.
Yes, this is good evening, everyone. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
And good evening, participants. This is the fourth day of this workshop. And we started from yesterday the Atlas TI hands-on training sessions. And today we will continue this. And now this evening is yours, sir. And this is over to you.
Thank you, Siparna. And can you give me right to share my screen?
Sir, you have.
Okay, let me check.
Yes. You have the rights.
Mhm.
You just try.
Okay, yeah.
So just one request to participant, because sir is teaching us this coding process and all this. So first let progress sir progress him the whole the procedure. Then if we have questions you have, please jot down, keep it with yourself or write in the chat box. At the end of the session we all will address it. I think it will be better, because we have a lot of questions. I know you have a enormous questions, and so make it interactive, but asking more question within the session, so makes it that we are learning this at last year. It is very new to all of us, I think, and so we are here to learn from him. Okay, so give this opportunity to him, and at the end of the session obviously we will address all of your questions. Okay, just type in the chat box your question. Thank you. Okay, sir, you can start now.
Thank you very much. Am I audible to all?
Yes, sir, you are audible. It's okay.
Okay. So once again, good afternoon, good evening to all. Today we are going to continue this session that we started yesterday, and I think screen is visible to all. So I will just quickly summarize what we did yesterday. We open Atlas TI. We uploaded the primary interview, which is verbatim in nature, word by word, pause by pause. Then we created the research objective. Under research objective, we wrote down 2 research questions. And I suggested that whenever you are going to start the coding process, always you need to be very, very careful in reading the content. And whenever you are going to read the content, I repeatedly mentioned that you always take the lenses of research question or research objective. If research question and research objective is same, that means there is only one question. Now in our research, we have 2 questions. One question is about to study the middle managers morale in public sector banks. And second question is to study top management practices which influence middle managers morale. And in this, we are going to analyze our data based on only 2 interviews. In Atlas TI language, it is known as documents. So whenever you are going to upload any document in Atlas TI, automatically by default, it will So D1, D2, D3, D4, or whatever it is. Okay. So we have two documents, and we had started some coding process, and there was a lot of insightful suggestions were coming about what could be the name of the code. And that is why when we discuss too much about the code, which is the good code, types of code, and how to make codes, it will take again different dimensions altogether. But here I'm going to teach you basic, as well as also depending on the nature of your question, quality of your question. Definitely we are going to learn much deeper about, how to make good codes, which is good code, which is not good code, how to make code, what are the different keywords, what are the different concepts you should make uh, to make code very, very insightful and relevant and meaningful. Okay. So I will again repeat the research question. I will open the document and I will continue the same process. And once I complete coding the two documents, then next part I will show you. I will browse the code the way it appears on the screen. I will browse the code, and I will ask you to find out the homogeneity among the code, what pattern is emerging. And at the same time, I will also ask you about the which two codes, three codes are giving exactly same meaning, right? So we will also do the merging of the code at the same time. For example, there are two codes, and they are giving the same meaning and definitions, okay, of the concepts. Then perhaps we can merge two codes, okay. And then once merging the code, and if you feel that in any time that a particular code can be divided into many subcodes, we can also do the process of splitting the code. That means in the entire segment, which actually demand 4 or 5 codes, but you have labeled by only one code. But if you want to create more and more code, you can also do so. Okay. But first of all, what we are going to do today, we are going to finish the coding part. And I suggest you to be more attentive while suggesting the code. Of course, what professor has mentioned about the interaction only after the session is over, that's absolutely fine. But at the same time, in the coding process, your participation is important. This plays a role, because the more and more you suggest the code. Otherwise, if I'm going to create my own code, there will be a lot of subjectivity, and maybe a lot of you may not understand unless you. So while I will open and I will read, and I will also create my own code, but at the same time you are free to suggest me. Okay, so we are not going to consume more time on it, but of course, while I read, listen carefully, and whatever code you suggest, I will write my own code. Okay, now I'm going to open the document. So far,
Sir, participation is always encouraged.
yeah.
But the
No, no.
questions answer session should be at the end of this, your training after.
Mhm.
That is only the part.
Absolutely, no
That's
issue,
all.
no issue. Absolutely fine. Great,
Yes.
great. Now, so far, you can see on the left-hand side document two. We have two documents. So far, we have created 18 codes. We have created two memos. So one memo is about, you can see here, research objective, in which we have two research question. If I click, you can see the research question. Here is the research question. Okay. If you want to see the research question, I can maximize it.
Please mute yourself, Kavita.
These are the research question. Okay, we have already written. Okay, now two networks we have so far, because once we created the network, we have also saved our network. You can see network here. If I want to open the network, if I open just a double click, automatically the network will open. I just double click, see how it appears. I have to go, I have to, right? So everything will appear. Okay. So these are the basic idea. And then finally, somebody asked me question about, demographic profiling. So if you want to see if you want to generate report in multiple ways, for example, in a very, very simple terminology, if you are interested to generate report for, in this case, what only CMDs say, okay, then by selecting the CMDs, every report which is connected with the CMDs will, you will be able to generate. If you want to find out what only middle managers talk about, middle managers morale, then by clicking the middle managers, you can generate, you can refine only report of middle managers. If you want to find out what middle managers and union directors together, what they say, what is emerging and what is common, then by selecting these two category of participant, you can generate the report. You can as many types you can assume to generate your report. Atlas TI has provision to do. If you want to generate report of all the participant, what is emerging commonly across, you can find out. If you want to find out individual, if you want to find out cross hierarchy, you can find out. There are multiple ways to generate report. Okay, and that is why we created the document group randomly, because we have only, so I will just show the document group that we created. You can see here left hand side, female employees, male employees, middle managers, southern region, top management, western region. Okay, so these profilings are purely based on your objective as a researcher, what you want to generate, okay, which kind of report you want to find out, and which phenomena you want to explore more and more. Okay, but anyhow, you can generate many types of categorization of respondent, so that anytime if you want to use it, you can use it. Otherwise there is no issue if you don't want to use it. Now I'm going to continue with this process. I will repeat again. Our objective is, these are the research questions: to study middle managers morale in public sector banks. Second is to study management practices that influence middle managers morale. Now we are taking the lens of these two research objective or research question, and whenever we are going to read the statement or the responses given by the respondent, we are going to find out whether the informations are meeting or addressing these two research objective or not. Okay, now let me open the first document, because we started the first document. I will close here. I will go to document. I will open the first document because we started the first document. Now I hope my screen is visible to all. Is it readable, or should I stretch more?
No, it's fine, sir.
Okay, fine. Now let me move where we stopped. Okay, I'm just moving. Okay, we stopped here. Question number 4. The question number 4 is about, do you mean and see, just above question number 4, I have written question emerging from the previous question, and some of the participants raised this question. If some person is giving only simple answer, or he is not directly answering the question, then I suggested that there is a probing technique. Then you can politely raise another question, which where you can extract some information, and that is what I have done here, emerging from the previous question. The question is, do you mean to say there is a culture of oral instruction? I think everybody can correlate it from yesterday's discussion. Do you mean to say that there is a culture of oral instruction in the bank? Now, response number 4. Yes, it is very well there. They ask you to extend loan to somebody, and in case of non-following instruction, you are ready to get punishment posting and will keep you harassing, and nobody will help you. First of all, let me ask you whether under these two research objective, whether this information is relevant or not. For me, it appears relevant.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So I'm highlighting the entire sentence, and now I'm going to the right click, and I will right click up. I will write apply code, and I will ask for the code that you can suggest. I can write my code, but if you suggest me code, that will be better. Which codes find better?
Punishment posting.
Harassment of employees.
Let me write punishment posting is one.
Employee harassment.
Okay. Employees. Spelling maybe. Okay, fine. What else?
Sir, oral instruction prevails. That was already there. So can we again give it?
Maybe we can create another code. You know
It is
what?
already there. Oral instructions prevails.
Yeah, I know that because we have already created this code, right? You mean to say no?
Mhm.
So whenever you have created one code and again similar information is emerging, the best way is to create another code, maybe by giving the different name altogether, because anyway in the next process you are going to merge the two similar code, right? So it's always better to maximize initially more and more codes. So okay, so it's better to make you can make some prefix, you can use some suffix in a different way, but of course oral instructions should appear.
Sir, lack of harmony among employees. Nobody will help you. It's written, nobody will help you.
That is fine, but this is coming from the oral instruction, and it is specific to the branch manager. So when we talk about lack of harmony among employees, because this question is only specific to branch manager and middle managers, so lack of harmony, maybe it applies to entire segment. But of course, if you feel to write, you can write so, but let us make it more, because this sentence is exactly related. So when people are talking about employee harassment or any other keyword, this is related to oral instruction. That means non-following oral instruction attracts punishment.
So can we say low
Pressure to follow oral instruction?
Come again, madam?
Pressure to follow oral instruction?
We can, why not? Why not?
Then
yeah.
employee morale.
Yeah.
Low employee morale.
Yeah, that will automatically come, because when we write these management practices, and if any word is coming related to morale, then we will write. But of course, as a researcher, but from here, of course, all these things are leading to low employees morale. So let us preserve your judgment based on the pattern emerging. So we should not be, see, as a researcher, we know what is emerging from the data, but we should not be too fast to write anything which is not written in the things, right? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I'm moving to second one. Now the fifth question is about the management accountability and fairness. Question is, where do you rate management and HR department on accountability scale? Are they fair in their dealings? Do they follow policies? Now this also gives you a lot of idea about whenever you are going to design any qualitative questions, how I have created 3 questions in the same question, right? Some are open-ended, some are closed-ended. Okay. The reason is very simple, because you are providing better scope and space for responses to emerge. Now the response number 5. First and foremost thing, public sector bank should stop practice of promoting general officer to specialist officer. Those who are in HRM or HR should be HR specialist. Those who are in marketing department should be marketing specialist. Specialist officers should be hired from top business schools. These specialist officers should be promoted to general manager of a specific area. General officers should not be promoted to specialist cadre. anyone cannot be promoted to specialist officer just because he just keeps on telling and doing nothing. He did nothing wrong and no dynamics, but fits into the management interest and manages to get promotion anyhow. Banks should stop such practices. The person with doing nothing good for the benefit of the bank, such attitude should not be promoted, and that is why performer leave the bank and mediocre survive. Mediocre has gone up to the top position, even they are engaged into many wrongdoings, butterings, and even greasing the palm activities. See, so many loaded informations are emerging from one responses. Do you feel that each and every line makes sense to you? Or only certain line makes sense to you?
The most of them.
The entire paragraph.
Exactly. For me also, each and every line makes sense to me. So I'm going to highlight. Now you suggest me what information can you suggest, or what code can you suggest from here? Or you can discuss general that what informations are emerging, because one of the information is emerging that general officer should not be promoted to specialist officer. There is a lot of buttering activities, a lot of wrongdoings going on. There is a lot of mediocrity prevails in the bank. They are also talking about performer leave the bank, right? So these are the concepts emerging from this response. Now, what code can you suggest? I will just write.
Performance-based promotion.
No, it is not there. No, it is not there. Where it is? Because
This is promotion policy from, sorry, policy of transfer from generalist to specialist stream.
So what should we code? I can get your idea, but what will you code? One of the immediate
Saying policy for transfer from general to specialist stream.
Sir, updation of policies.
we can also say that policy flaws.
Inefficient HR practices.
We can say
Lateral
that.
hiring should be practiced.
Yeah. So gentlemen, what you mentioned about insufficient?
Inefficient HR practices.
Inefficient HR practices. That is one looks better. What is the next one?
Lateral hiring should be practiced.
No, they are not talking about lateral, you know.
Differentiation between specialist and general officer has to be mentioned, you know.
So the better word is policy mismatch for general and specialist officers. Can we say, sir? Or maybe we can say that policy flaws for general and specialist officers.
Correct.
Is it fine? Okay.
Inaccurate policy.
Yeah.
Policy.
Absolutely, because in any word you can write. I'm just writing general and specialist officer. So don't worry for the spelling. Okay, what else is coming? I also find in the last but first line, mediocre survive.
Yeah.
And performer leave the bank. So there are two strongly code emerging. So what should I write?
Retention of
you know, sometimes listen carefully. Sometimes what happens now? Sometimes exact word fits more than what we create. For example, we can also write mediocre stay, performer leave. How does it appear?
Sir, identification and retention of key talents
Yeah, agree.
is required.
Yeah, fine, absolutely agree. But sometimes when you find the exact word, then that becomes more powerful. For example, if you use the performer and mediocre, so performer leave or mediocre survive, mediocre stay. This also gives a lot of meaning, but you can suggest me even better word. And also the last line mentioned about buttering activities, greasing the palm activity. This is kind of flattering your superiors, a kind of yes-manship.
HR policy promoting
Unethical practices.
rather than writing unethical practices, of course,
Rampant unethical practices.
Unethical HR practices.
see, I agree to your point. We can write so, but unethical is a bigger word. What happens now? Similar kind of practices, if we combine together, then we can nickname as unethical practices.
Unethical
So
practices.
rather than write exactly what practices is going on, later on you can club them and you can make them unethical practices as a theme, right?
Yeah.
So
Bribing
so
bribing is practiced as an unethical practices kind of.
Culture of mediocrity.
that's good.
Unfavorable climate for mediocre and unfavorable.
Yes. Culture of mediocrity.
So we can write poor talent management.
Okay, very nice, very nice. Absolutely, very good. What else? And last line, pleasing activities or buttering activities.
We
What
can
keep?
backdoor activities.
Which one?
Backdoor management. We can say backdoor management. It encompasses it.
Promotion of- Can we say promotion of psychophancy?
Absolutely, why not?
Favoritism.
Promoted. Of course, favoritism. Favoritism prevails. What else is coming? I think most of the things have been covered. Fine. Should we move ahead? Okay. Let me move. Okay. See how many information have come. So many people ask questions, sir, how many code a particular answer or particular responses or particular documents should have. So there is no definite answer to this because it purely depends on how much information, how many information emerging from the responses. Maybe from 2-line responses, each and every word makes sense. Or maybe from the lengthy responses, no word makes sense to you. Okay. So it's a researcher who decides how many codes and also the content of the responses that decide how many codes should emerge.
But the paragraph is also talking about poor leadership because it's saying that mediocrity rises to the top.
Absolutely right. We have already written it. So let us write. Absolutely. Why not? Okay. Let me move to next question. The next question is about emerging from the previous question, biasness in promotion and transfer. So it seems that there is a lot of biasness and prejudice in promotion and transfer, and that the person says that yes. Okay, we can write so, otherwise we can skip. So because we have already covered in the previous question. Now question number 7, middle level attrition. This is related to why middle level employees frequently leave the bank, who is responsible, and what should be done to stop it. Now responses. Response number 7, I will read. It is very common. The reason is that your authority that you report is incompetent, and when he comes to know that you are competent enough to handle all the issue, he develops inferiority complex and shows you as incompetent, and eventually reflect your image as incompetent in HR department and assign your jobs to some incompetent person so that he can trap you. This is the major reason why people prefer to leave bank. They prefer to work anywhere but get rid of such practices. Do you feel that meaningful informations are emerging which can address to middle managers morale and management practices?
Yes.
Absolutely fine. Now I'm highlighting the entire paragraph. Now you can suggest me a few codes. What codes are emerging? Please go ahead.
Ego problem with the superiors.
Think better word, because the
Incompetent senior management.
yes, that's also or we can yes,
Personality conflicts.
First let me write incompetent
Senior management.
Okay. Second,
inferiority complex among the senior management.
Personality conflicts, because he's saying no that you are wantingly put away and an incompetent person is given. It's going personal rather than professional.
Okay. And somebody mentioned about the inferiority complex. What is that?
Inferiority complex among the senior managers. Senior management.
We have written no somewhere? No.
No, inferiority complex we have not mentioned. Inferiority complex of senior management due to their mediocre talent or whatever you can say.
Okay. What else? One more. they are also talking about attrition rate and who leaves these people.
Yes, sir. Rates.
Performer leave the bank. Competent people leave the bank, right? Yes or no?
Yes, and they are saying promoting mediocre talents.
Yeah, so competent leave the bank, and then we can say that mediocre stay.
Mediocre talent is promoted.
Talent promoted. Fine. Fine. Good. Let's move to another question quickly so that we can.
So can we add that there is low self-efficacy, because this person is saying it is very common. It is not in their hand. I mean, something like that he's implying.
Right? Why not? Low self-efficacy. Okay. Okay. Fine.
This also says there is no checks and balances mechanism.
Yeah.
To establish who is a performer and who is a mediocre guy. Kind of a thing.
So because everything is related to HR practices, right?
Yeah.
So we can say that dysfunctional HR practices. Can we say that?
Yeah.
We can add, sir, as poor performance management or poor credit rating of individuals.
Poor talent management we have written already. So poor performance management. Okay. No. Fine. Poor performance management. Then I would like to say that dysfunctional HR practices, or maybe biased HR practices, or any keyword you can use, but because everything is pointing towards HR practices, because everything
biasness, it doesn't point, but dysfunctional definitely it points.
Yeah, somehow. Yeah. Okay, fine. So let's move to next question. Question number 8, whistleblower policy. Does bank have whistleblower policy into practices? The response is no, it is not in practice at all. Whistleblower policy is only on paper and not practiced at all. Those who blow the whistle are literally sabotaged and destroyed his career. Management makes a lot of negative publicity of the whistleblower, and his name is revealed and known to everyone. Blame culture exists everywhere. Do you feel that this line makes sense to you?
Of course, it's a big statement.
Of course, it is loaded with so many information. And let me tell you, even today, these are the real picture of the public sector bank. If you are aware or not, I do not know your background and profile, but those who are bit even aware about public sector bank, still these things prevails in public sector bank. Okay. Anyway. Okay. What can you suggest the good code?
So bullying of employees.
Employees bullying. Okay, fine. Then
fear of expression. Fear of expression.
Rather than fear of, because this question is about the whistleblower.
It's personal policy and practices. And whatever is the policy, it is not in place.
Or we can say that whistleblowers discouraged.
Or whistleblower policy is only on paper. It's a paper.
That is fine. That is fine. We can write so. But
we can say
truth is not appreciated.
Yes. Loss of personal image.
Loss of personal image.
Loss of personal image.
We can say truth is buried or truth is not appreciated.
Yeah, you are correct that I mean whistleblowers is discouraged.
You know, rather than using the word truth, because this question is specific to whistleblower policy, and who are discouraged? The people, those who are going to blow the whistle. So, as a whistleblower, I'm not supposed to blow the whistle. So, whistleblowers discouraged. Right?
Whistleblowers are discouraged, right?
Yeah.
Nobody wants that somebody
Yeah,
should come
yeah,
out and
yeah.
talk about any.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
The existence of blame culture.
Yes, absolutely. Why not? Blame game culture. Fine. One more thing is emerging. Whistleblower's name revealed to public. Whistleblower's name revealed to public.
That to be negative, it has been written lot of negative publicity.
Yeah, that is fine. Negative publicity is also one part, but at the same time, it is also saying that whistleblower's name is also revealed to public, to all the people.
Lack of confidentiality of
Yeah,
whistleblower.
we have already mentioned that policies are only on paper. So
Mhm.
again,
Or we can
the
say
policy
adverse.
says,
Sorry.
the
Yes, Mr.
policy
Kumar.
says, sorry, you please continue.
No, sorry. No, please, you continue. I'm sorry.
Because I find two information here. First of all, negative publicity is fine because they make negative publicity of the whistleblower. That's one part. Whistleblowers are discouraged. Second part. Third part is also their names are disclosed to public because
it
all
is
information
privacy-
are.
Can it be privacy breach?
Lack of confidentiality.
Absolutely. Breach of privacy. Breach of whose privacy? Now, breach
Right,
of
right.
whistleblowers' privacy, right? Whistleblowers' privacy.
Sir, one more, as it is being written that literally sabotaged and destroyed
Yeah.
career.
Uh-huh.
So that can be one. I think that is again one more information.
No, we have written one. I think we have written somewhere.
So to add to that, we can say revenge-seeking behavior, or adverse consequences.
Adverse consequences of whistleblowing or like all these.
Okay. Fine. Okay. Let's move to next. Okay. Now,
can I come back to the previous one? Like, no, you said the whistleblower name is published.
Mhm.
In a way, it could be encouragement. If positive steps are taken, that could be an encouragement.
No.
Policy doesn't suggest so.
Yeah. Because whistleblower, if you recall your experience about Chanda Kochar case in ICICI Bank, and the stakeholder was the whistleblower Arvind Gupta, and he blew the whistle. You know, as per policy, it has to be, your name has to be anonymous, right? The moment it is
in the example of the ICICI Bank, since that steps were taken against Chanda Kochar, the person who has really blew the whistle, if his or her name is declared, that would be an encouragement in a case that they have put the ICICI Bank in right track by that person. That would be encouragement.
You see, that is fine, but you know, why? First of all, we need to understand why there is a whistleblower policy, because anonymity has to be maintained in any case. Of course, later on, people come to know the name, but as an organization, it is the, you know, moral and ethical responsibility of the organization to keep the name anonymous, as long as it is not asked by any agency or any superior agency to do it, right? Because there is a lot of risk involved, no, a lot of career risk and a lot of sabotage involved in it. So that is why it is not to be revealed to anybody else. You can imagine in case of all this political landscape and so many places. Even you can think, even you can think about your own organization. If you are going to disclose any wrongdoings going on, who is going to leave you, right? Because people will have a lot of lot of different attitude towards the people.
That in fact, the example you are discussing is just not maybe true for banks. It could be true for any other place of work.
No, but again, it depends on the. See, this is of course this is a debatable topic, but it depends on the. It depends on the leadership. What kind of leadership do you have?
Correct.
So I'd
correct.
like to add to this conversation. At the end of the day, whistleblower is working against a power structure and therefore needs to be protected. So this person is taking a stand against, a very powerful entity or a group of powerful people. So that is necessary.
Yeah. So of course, it purely depends on what kind of culture you have. If you have very, very strong leadership, then definitely it is encouraged to all the people, and people will be, happy to, take forward all wrongdoings in the organization. But when leaders are themselves involved in wrongdoings, then it is very, very dangerous, no?
Yeah, that was my point. Like, no, if things are taken in a positive way, declaring whistleblower name could also be in a positive way. Could be an encouragement in that scenario.
But very simple reason, his lives can be in danger, and that's why the names are not being
exactly.
Usually, it is not disclosed. And post, if something happens or some actions is being taken, then it can be or maybe disclosed.
Absolutely.
So that's a general practice in anywhere, because his life is in danger. To save that, the names are usually not disclosed.
Absolutely.
So I think the whistleblower is rewarded, but again anonymously, maybe by the board, but that is there, but still the name is not disclosed.
Yeah. There are a lot of policies by RBI, SEBI, and banks also. If you read the content, anonymity is the main key factor of the whistleblower policy of anywhere. Anonymity, protecting the privacy. Yeah.
That's like basic to any whistleblower policy anywhere.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, now question number 9, late sitting.
We can add one more code here.
Please go.
IWASH policies as an IWASH, because it says whistleblower policies only on paper and not practice.
What would be the code?
The code could be IWASH policies.
IWASH whistleblower policy. It is only a window dressing kind of thing, right?
Yes, it's a window dressing.
Yeah. Now, very good. You see, only 3 line and 3.5 line statement, but how many codes are emerging? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right. Now, question number 9, late sitting in the branches. What is the opinion about late sitting in the branches? Is it desired by management or really a business need? Response number 9, it is very well there and it is expected by management. They are more concerned about late sitting. Do you feel that makes sense?
Again, it's about HR practices.
Exactly. But yes, so let me write code. Which code? Simply we can cite that late sitting practices prevail. Right?
Prevail. Yeah.
Okay. Next, anything else? Management expect it, right?
What is wrong in that?
Yeah.
What is wrong in that? Late sitting practice is expected. Bank has to do a lot of reconciliation work, and that is one of the most important tasks. So even after the banking hours, one has to sit there.
No.
In the banking hours, they are supposed to take care of, apart from back office, they have to take care of their customers also.
Banking sector and banking policies suggest that do your work within time. You should not be sitting late. Late is each and every.
This practice is everywhere in every industry, every organization. That is workload. I can say this is workload.
No, that the management has to increase the manpower.
No, not necessarily. It depends upon your profitability. If you have got revenue, then you can hire the employees.
It's not about here. The question is not about the profitability. It's about just the morale. Whether you sit late and who says you to sit late, whether it is profitable, unprofitable, more work. It's not out over there. It's only saying.
I feel since it is a financial services industry, banking industry, it has to follow the rules and regulations of the government also. So they are supposed to complete it within the time period as per guidance.
It is for the management to ensure and make policies and practices which can ensure the work should be done in time. So that's how it is. I mean, if you have a front management.
Work in time is not that you have to complete your work by 3 p.m. As per banking hours. Banking hours is, you need to understand the banking hours and you need to understand completion of a work.
No.
There is a
When you are
difference there.
saying, see, when you are
Sir,
saying banking,
this debate will continue, sir.
Sir,
Because this is
No,
different.
yeah, you
Sir,
are
if
correct,
it is,
Sriparna ma'am.
if
But here
Yes,
the issue is
I can understand.
whether we should
Issue
generate a
is
code or not.
very,
We should
very
generate a
serious
code or
issue.
not.
Serious issue.
I'll simply go and say check out with HDFC Bank. if you delay beyond 7 p.m. you have to give an explanation. That's as simple as that.
7 p.m. is again nowhere it is written that you have to work till 7 p.m.
Sachin sir, this is my personal request. You just send your mobile number or you take my mobile number. You are raising very valuable point. And which is that second gentleman?
Kunal is there.
Please Kunal, you also send your, because my book is very good. Very soon it is going to be published, and one of the chapter is late setting practices across the organization. And the title of my book is Corporate Demons Catalyzing, Creating Catalyst Leaders. Right. So I appreciate your point. Both the points are absolutely fine. I would like to submit here few things. As a researcher, we are not judge. As a researcher, we need to find out which information makes sense to us. As a researcher, I feel that I'm not going to make any judgment, either initial or at the final. We are going to present what is emerging from the data to the people. It is people, it is the audience who are going to decide what it is. We are not going to act as a judge or any researcher for the sake of doing qualitative research. You are not a judge. You are only the communicator between the respondent to the audience, first of all. Now, this late setting practices, good or bad, that is absolutely debatable issues. And I appreciate both the points, because everything that you have mentioned make a lot of sense, which we can discuss on another forum, right? But now, since these things is emerging, we are no one to judge whether to code or not. As a researcher, I feel that I should code it. But in your opinion, because a researcher should not make any judgment just based on your prior experience, previous experience. You have to act as a neutral person while coding that data, right? So we are not going to make any preconceived or any judgment based on our prior experience or anything else. So I think since things are emerging from the yeah, please go ahead.
Can we say that late sitting for pleasing management, or it's been questioned that is it desired by management or really a business need?
No, see, we do not assume anything beyond what is written, because you can only make assumption what is written here. So it is showing that it is very well there. That means late sitting practices prevails, right? And it is expected by the management. They are concerned about the late sitting. So management expects it, but only two things, because rest of the things will be purely depend on our interpretation, right? When we finally make the theme, then we can make our interpretation why it happens. So probably this region, perhaps this region, but we can not, during the coding process, we cannot act as a judge. We cannot make any judgment what to code or what not code. As long as your research question is clear and things are giving somewhere answer to your research question, you should code it, right?
Okay.
Okay. So I move to next question. Question number 10. Okay. Prevalent politics into the system. What is the level of politics and what happens to those who do not take part in politics? Response number 10. It is very well there, and those who do not take part in the politics are sidelined and overlooked. They generally suffer in the system. Do you feel that we should quote this line? Question to everybody.
Yes, sir.
It should.
I feel, because since I have collected data, because and from this anybody can make sense, because and two quotes are emerging: politics prevails, and people not taking part in politics are overlooked. So how we can create the code? First of all, can I write that politics prevails?
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Second code.
Culture of groupism.
The politics, everything cover, no? Because groupism doesn't anything.
People interested in core work do suffer.
Sidelining for non-political.
We can say that what correct word, because we can sense that the people who do not take part in politics, they are victimized, or they get suffer. So what correct word can you suggest?
People who intend to do work, I mean, and do not take part in politics are the sufferers.
Forced to join in politics.
There is antonym of a political person is apolitical. Can we say that apolitical person suffer?
Political person suffer.
Right? Or non-political person suffer?
We can say that groupism prevails.
No, I think the better word would be apolitical employee suffers. That would be better way.
Apolitical,
or victimization of
or non-political.
Yeah, apolitical person suffers.
Again, going by whatever the information says, there is no victimization or. So I think apolitical is a better word to be used.
Okay, fine. So because once two informations are emerging, we should avoid loading with lot of more information, because two things are emerging and two things we have already covered it. Maybe in a different words we can make it, right? So on the same data, different people might create different code, right? But they are addressing the meaning of what is emerging from the responses. Okay. Now I'm moving to question number 11. And after question number 11, since this document is big, I will move to perhaps document number 2, and there also we will address up to question number 11. Okay. Do you have any example where you have felt extremely happy or unhappy? Do you have any example? Forget it for timing. Okay. Up to question number 10. Okay. Should I move to document number 2? Because we have a lot of paucity of time. It takes a lot of time to understand everything. But I'm very happy that you understand how to make code. And if you see the list of the codes, the way you have suggested and we have created, it looks really beautiful. Can I move to document number 2?
So I had a quick question. Can I ask here?
Please. Yeah.
So if you look at response 7 and even this the next one about I think the ninth one, it almost looks like a disgruntled person. So can we also mention that these sentences were very loaded? They seem to be coming from a very extreme point of view. Can we flag these codes as being a little extreme? So then we can also look at where this opinion is lying. Is that possible?
Yeah, we can. So while writing the code, you can use any critical word, which shows that maybe or maybe many times there is a concept called in vivo code. You must have heard the word in vivo code. In vivo
software
code,
we heard in vivo software.
In vivo code. Now it's very, very important. In vivo code is the verbatim code. Verbatim code simply mean that if one sentence or one line which you make as a code, that becomes the in vivo code. For example, do you see here blame culture exists everywhere? Do you see here? Can you see on the screen?
Yes.
Now I will show you. If I right click, and do you see code in vivo? Do you see on the screen?
Yes, sir.
If I click, automatically the entire word, entire sentence will become code. I will just click and I will show you. Can you see right hand side? Can you see that?
Yes. Like a subcode has come in. Yes.
Exactly. So the in vivo code is very, very important, especially when researcher feels that there is no better word than the word itself given by the respondent. Right? Or maybe when the person is giving any jargons or any local language which is loaded with lot of things and which you cannot convert into code. So always it's better to make the entire sentence or entire line as in vivo code. Okay, but make sure that whenever you are going to make in vivo code, do not make the entire sentences. Wherever you find very strongly with your conviction that this word is something which itself is the code, then make it in vivo code.
So if I find, sorry. So if I find most of my in vivo codes are coming from one respondent only, then I can play it down, because then it could be that this person or a minority has got strong opinions. Is that also?
No, you see, again, I stop to make any judgment based on the coding. As I repeatedly say that initially, just based on one response stage or one thing is emerging, you do not need to judge anything.
Not
Your
here,
job,
so final in the network, not
so
here.
finally, it is you will not decide. The code will decide what codes are emerging and
Correct.
whether those codes are fitting into the pattern or not. For example, in this interview, if a lot of critical and adverse comments are emerging, maybe in 9 other documents, all positive things are emerging, then all these critical comments will be, refined. They will nowhere fit into the pattern.
Yes, sir, got it. Yes,
Getting the
yes,
point,
sir, got
no?
it. Got it.
But
Yes.
at the same time, whenever you are going to present your data to your people, then you are going to present your data based on what pattern is emerging from the data. But at the same time, you should also show them the other side as well. Sir, these are the also area of concern, even though they are not fitting into the pattern, but you should highlight 4 or 5. These are the strong area where we can further, explore, because these are the things emerging from the data. It's not about who said what, but these are the informations emerging from the information, because you can write, there are the scope, there are the space where researcher can further explore the phenomena.
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Now let me tabulate all the codes to just see how it appears. Can you see the codes here? Okay. Now, when you see the code, then you can find out, what are the different concepts emerging from these codes. Okay. So as a researcher, you need to browse many times among the code, and then you have to find out what is strong, groups, or what is the homogeneous informations are emerging, or what are the different dimensions are emerging. Then next, what you are going to do, you are going to bucket them. For example, if late sitting practices are emerging, 4 or 5 codes related to late sitting practices, then you are going to create one bucket. That bucket is known as, new group. You see on the left hand side on the top, that is known as code group. So you create a code group by the bigger name, similar name, late sitting prevailing in the bank. And then all the practices related to late sitting practices, you are taking these codes and bucket into the particular code group. Similarly, if there are so many things about dysfunctional promotions and transfer, so you need to collect all related to promotion and transfer, which are dysfunctional in nature or maybe positive in nature, and accordingly you need to create a code group, which are actually very thematic in nature, which showing that this code group is about dysfunctional HR practices, and all the codes which talking about dysfunctional HR practices, take them, bucket them in the code group. If you want to segregate, transfer separately and promotion separately, you can do so, depending on how much information are emerging. If you want to talk about favoritism separately, you collect all the codes related to favoritism, okay, and make them as a code group. But since we have done for only one document, let me move to another document. Okay.
So one question.
Please.
Sir, in this particular image, in density for some of the codes, it is showing 2. What is the meaning of that? Like in some it is showing 0, in some it is showing 1, in some it is showing 2.
Okay. Do you remember yesterday we created the network?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
And do you also remember that
memo
caste biasness and
Yes,
region
yes.
biasness we connected. Now I will
Yes,
show you.
sir.
I will show you here itself how it appears to, because with this code there is another code connected. So I'm going to open the network, see how two things will appear. Do you see here? Wait, I will just make organic. Can you see here? Caste
Yes, sir.
biasness,
Yes, sir.
two codes are connected. That means
Yes, sir.
this code is not standalone, right? Along with that, there are two codes which are associating with this, right?
Association.
Yeah, association. And if you want to see what people have said about it, just right click, add neighbors, and just add quotation. Okay. And in quotation, you have to go view, you have to see preview, and everything will come together. So if anybody is going to ask about, okay, tell me, why do you say so? Then you can say, so this is the statement given by the respondent, right? And this is how you can arrange, how you can arrange it, maybe in a tree format, or maybe tree format. Okay. Anyway, you can arrange it randomly, right? This is how you can make through the network presentation. Okay, fine.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Now, if you want to save it, wait. You want to save it? Of course, you can save it. Okay. Now, I'm going to interview number 2 for time being. So as long as we can do some coding, then we will stop it. Now the same question, because you know the you have same question to different respondent. So I will just code go with the question number 1 and then I will stop here. The question number 1, level of employees morale. What is the level of employees morale in branches? On a scale of 100, where do you rate employees morale? Can you suggest some measures to boost employees morale? Response number 1. There are various aspects. Certain aspects are happy, certain aspects I do not know if they realize whether they are unhappy. By and large, for Indian, the morale is quite okay. For bankers, it varies, but it could have better in terms of decision making. Morale is different at different level for different level. For branch level employees, barring managers, it is around 60 to 65%, and I think that is reasonably good. But branch manager, as I am branch manager and representing employees in my branch, is quite unhappy, and morale is down by 20 points. It means morale level is 40 to 45% among branch managers. Now you suggest me what information is emerging from the entire data. Do you feel that first of all these all line makes or all sentences make sense to you? And few informations are emerging or more informations are emerging? You suggest me.
Information is there, and typically suggesting that I am keeping my subordinates morale happy up, but my managers are unable to keep my morale up. That's what it looks like.
What else? What else? Because these kind of statement always challenges researcher. What should you extract as a code? Because I have collected data, so I can make sense what information makes sense to me, because last line makes sense to me. It means morale level 40 to 45% among branch managers, because I am studying the branch managers morale, middle managers morale. So this line attracts me, because 40 to 45% I can write middle managers morale or branch managers morale 40 to 45%. Now second,
different level of morale of different in different level.
It varies across levels.
Varies.
Yeah. The second the things, okay. And again, the first line, this is that respondent is talking about, I do not know whether if they realize whether they are unhappy. So the person is giving the mixed feeling. He is not giving the clear picture about how many are what is the degree of happiness or unhappiness, right?
But it's also talking about a very idiosyncratic leadership. So like it
Yeah.
depends upon whom you're reporting to. So if that person
Yeah.
is balanced, then the experience is a happy experience. Otherwise, they could be miserable.
Yeah. So what we do now, whenever we are going to code any data, rather than we can only ground it in the data itself, what is emerging from the data, we do not make any other assumptions. So whatever is emerging from the data, we pick up, right?
So diversity of experience at the bank.
No, the better word could be, I would say, morale varies across level.
Yes.
So like one is being written like Indians morale. By and large, for Indian, the morale is quite okay.
But we are not studying the Indian morale. We are studying middle managers morale. So that is more important than Indian morale.
Okay.
And that is giving in the last sentence that it means morale level is 40 to 45% among branch managers. And that is our focus. Kunal, you have raised your hand. Please go ahead.
No, it was by error.
Okay. Sachin, please go ahead.
Yes. Thank you. See, basically what we are trying to identify here is a perception.
Yeah.
In quantitative studies, there is one famous scale which is Likert scale, which is used basically for studying perception.
Yeah.
Here the branch manager is not able to quantify properly 60 to 65%, 40 to 45%. Can we insert a Likert type question here so that he can answer strongly agree, strongly disagree, or is it? I feel it can be inserted to help out the respondent. Code will generate as agree, strongly agree.
Okay.
Code will automatically generate, but
that is fine. I understand your point, but at the same time, that is why I say that now, rather than writing any generic code, why don't we write exact code? For example, branch managers morale 40 to 45%. Because here we are not going to measure the extent or gravity, and we are going to make code from the responses. And here 40, we can see the two data here, 60 to 65% for branch level employees. Bearing managers, it's around 60 to 65%. Our job is to study middle managers morale, means branch manager. This responses is talking about 60 to 65% except branch manager. For branch managers, 40 to 45%. Now within these two data, which is more important to us, branch managers or non-branch managers?
Branch managers.
Branch manager. So for me, 40 to 45% make more sense. And as Professor Sachin has suggested, I would love to write exact the same word, right? 40 to 5% branch managers morale, and using the Likert scale, because Likert scale is the measuring tool, right? You are going to measure the responses, and when you are going to measure accordingly, you need to create question which is closed-ended question. Now we have created open-ended question. So if you are going to use scale which is meant for measuring the closed-ended question to measure open-ended question, there will be a lot of question of reliability, authenticity. People will question it. Right?
Yeah. Another point is that when you're using Likert scale, it would be you get it into quantity mode, so it would be used in a quantitative analysis rather than we are now in qualitative analysis. So and Likert scale basically is used when we are going in a quantity analysis.
Yeah. So let me highlight everything, and I will generate two codes here, and then I will stop here. I will say that 40 to 45% branch managers morale, exact word. Secondly, morale, I say, varies across level. Two things strongly emerging from this data, right? Now I will just go to second question, last question maybe. Second question is, what is your opinion about transfer policy in the bank? What is the level of transparency in that? Response number 2, it could have been better. I find transfer policy is understood what we feel, but it comes out of term and you do not know why you have been given stroke. If it is positive or negative, you do not know why you have been such transfer. So it could have been better in terms that if management provide a strong reason to employees that because of your such strong point, you have been so transfer, or because of your such weaknesses, this is the opportunity for you to learn. So if this message is given, then it could affect employees positively. I think very smartly the person has given the answer, right? And I also feel that you can suggest me what is emerging from this response.
Transfer policies are not clear.
Very good.
Yeah, non-transparency in transfer policy.
Very nice. Very good. Yeah. So one thing is strongly emerging about the opaqueness or lack of transparency, lack of fairness in the transfer policy. So what should I write? Lack of transparency. Transparency in HR transfer policy. Why not? Right. Now I stop here. Okay. And rest of the things we will do maybe tomorrow. Okay. So and once we complete the entire coding process, then next part we are going to browse through the code and we are going to bucket them. And the process is, I will just show you what is the process of coding, code grouping. I will just do you see here new group?
Yes, sir.
So what we are going to do, since how many codes we have created so far? Can you count how many codes we have created so far?
52.
52 codes. Now there will be a lot of debate, lot of question, and there are so many answers in the literature that any dissertation or any PhD or any research, how many codes you should generate, there is no definite answer to it, how many codes. Grounded theory talks about 40 to 55 codes. Many research paper talks about 100 to 200 codes, but max to max 300 codes. But when I did my PhD, I created 1161 codes. Then from 1161 codes, I clubbed into code groups, 67 code groups, right? And from those code groups, again I refined, I clubbed many code groups into theme. Maybe in the language of Atlas TI, we say that smart code or smart groups. Again, we club many code groups and make thematic group. So this is how it is done, just in a pyramidal shape. At the bottom, maximum number of codes, you move code groups, smaller code groups, and then you go, and once you identify the theme, then you can generate all textual report, all this graphical report, all Excel report, the way you want to generate report using, with the demographic profile of the respondent or multiple demographic profile of the respondent. There are many options available. But initially, whenever you are going to make any coding process, first you should start coding all the document before proceeding with the code grouping. So 52 codes we have created so far. Maybe we can create 20 or 30 codes more tomorrow, half of the time. And then once we do that, the next part we will do code grouping. And since our data is small, only 2 documents, then code groupings would be thematic in nature, right? That means we will stop there after making the code groups, because that will be based on what is emerging from the data. In the process, there will be many codes which will not fit into the pattern. There will be just refined. And from those code groups, we will just generate multiple reports. We can generate, a textual report. We can generate network report. We can generate Excel report. You can see here, Excel report, multiple way you can generate report. If you just click here, multiple ways to generate report. This is how we are going to do. And then we will try to show everything, in one image or in one report. If you want to see what are the management practices, you can show management practices. What are the middle managers morale, whether low, high, what are the reason for it, how they are connected, everything will come together. Kunal have raised hand. Please go ahead, Kunal.
Sorry, I think I moved my cursor and it goes on the hand.
Okay, fine. So I would stop here and open this forum for question or any query or any doubt or any suggestions, anything or any critical remarks or anything. I'm open for each and everything. Please go ahead.
Participants are requested to ask the questions.
But my also question is, did you really understand the coding process, how to code the data? That's also my question is.
Yes, we did, and in fact, the clear thing is that try to keep it close to the words that the respondent used. Try to use a lot of codes and then group them rather than taking a call early on. I mean, that's what I understood. Thank you.
Okay. Mhm.
Yes, I think today there is no questions because yes, really it was a good session, good interactive session. So code generation is a really interesting as well as interactive for all of us, and tomorrow will be the last day of this workshop, and I think it is the most important day because we will learn how to generate the subcode grouping and the basically the theme generation of theme. So tomorrow we will learn, and we are going to meet again the same time, same place at 5:30 p.m. onwards. The Zoom session will be open, and at 6 p.m. our session will be started. So it's all about for today's sessions. I think.
Thank you very much,
thank you.
Professor. Thank you very much, Professor, and thank you very much all the participants, especially those who have raised debatable question. And I really like the way they raised, and I truly appreciate them. And I'm really happy the way you suggested the code name and the way you learn how to code and the way you ask the critical question about mixing qualitative and quantitative, and that's very good symptoms actually, because that is how we learn from each other. So I also learned so many things from your insights, from your discussion, your debate, and I'm really happy about the way you interact and the way you raise questions. So finally, I thank you very much for attending this coding process, and we will meet again tomorrow. So thank you very much. Have a nice day and good night.
Thank you, sir, and thank you all of you. Okay, good night.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Have a restful evening. Thank you.